got that new thing for ya. It's so exciting. I got that new thing for ya. You know it's flying.
Bringing to you the latest fashions, designs, and trends. It's the guru, Ashford, the brand.
It's so exciting. You know it's flying. You know it's flying.
Evening's guest is Sonya Phillips from Stretch Couture, where she's bringing fashion to the world. Good to have you on the show today. Great to have you on the show.
Excited to be here.
And we're going to talk a little bit about fashion.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So I am a native of Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I currently live there, even though I've traveled and always, like a boomerang, always come back home. And one interesting thing about me is I went to a different school every year. I've gone to 2 schools twice, but I actually graduated in South Carolina, came back to the area, then worked a little bit, went into the military, into the Army. Didn't stay very long, but once I got out of the Army, then I went to school. So I went to TCC, and you know their slogan, from here, go anywhere. Yeah. So ended up getting 2 associates in at TCC, and that's when I actually started my business while I was in college at TCC. Then I continued on, and I graduated from ODU, and I've just kind of led that double life, always kind of working maybe a little bit in my major sometimes, but also in fashion consistently for the past, March will be 20 years. My business has been established.
Wow. So what made you want to get into fashion?
Well, my brand is Stretch Couture because I just like custom stuff. As a young person growing up, my mom was a single parent, didn't have a lot of money, always got the hand-me-downs or the quote-unquote Kmart specials on layaway if I got something new. And because I couldn't afford the name brand shoes and things like that, I really got into styling. And I figured if I kept them busy up here, you know, they wouldn't even make it down to my shoes that I got from Payless or whatever. And so my mom just was always creative. We always were a crafting kind of family, you know, that saying, use what you got till you get what you want, and type of thing. And so I learned at an early age how to style my clothes and repurpose things. Back then, I didn't know that it was a thing. Sustainable fashion is what it is now, upcycling. But back then, it was just making it do what it do. Yeah. And so when I became an adult and I started going out into the world doing more formal events or doing, say, Halloween or something, I could never find something off the rack because I was short. I was always plus size. You got 3 choices at Ashley Stewart, and especially if I was going to a black tie event, I don't want to have on the same black dress every other plus size woman had on at the party. And so it started with me altering things, and then eventually I started making my own things, using things I had in the house. I had home ec. 7th grade home ec was the only formal sewing education I had. And then as time went on, you know, I took some more classes, but I got started with a 7th grade home ec education, just making things for me. And then word of mouth, people would see what I was wearing and being a product of my product. Hey, make me something. Hey, you made me something. My sister wants something. Hey, my sister coworker wants something. And it just snowballed into building a business out of being my own brand.
So it started back in 7th grade.
Well, that's where I learned the foundation of sewing. Okay. But I really didn't pick it up until I was about 19. And I was constantly going to events and I was traveling. And I always I'm an only child, so I always just kind of went to the beat of my own drum. And I don't like being like other people. And I wasn't okay with having to choose from 3 choices at somewhere like Ashley Stewart or Cato, which was for like old people, you know. And so it just wasn't, I couldn't find what I wanted. And so I had to create it. And then I just kind of got into that point where sometimes in my life was about money because I couldn't afford to go and buy a $300 or $400 evening gown, you know, for one event. Wow. And so it was cheaper to go and spend $50 on the fabric and make it myself. And so then sometimes I would get more compliments on things that I made for this $50 than dresses that cost a lot. And again, that's how my business grew, is because people would see me and my things and, hey, where'd you get that? Oh, I made it. Oh, I'm interested. Make me something. And that's how I started.
So a lot of people do like to be different and not wear, because I know myself, if I go somewhere, I don't want to look like everybody else.
Exactly.
So I want to basically stick out.
Yeah. I mean, I think about that one saying by Dr. Seuss, why fit in when you were born to stand out?
That's true. That is so true. Wow. So you started, you started sewing in 7th grade. You taught yourself.
Well, so, in 7th grade, I don't know for the viewers out there how many people are in my same age group, but we used to have like the 3, like back before the crying babies, you carry the egg for like about 3 weeks, and you got to make sure you don't leave the egg in the classroom or something. We had to cook something, and we had a sewing thing. And I want to say I made a jean jumper for my sewing project. And that was the basic foundation of sewing that I had. And then when I was about 19, my mom had gotten sick and had moved in with me. And she was just home. She couldn't work. And she was bored. And she was like, hey, you always gone. Because I've always been a socialite, busybody out in the world. So she was like, you never here. I'm bored. Give me a sewing machine or something so I can make some curtains or pillows or something like that. And so at the time, I was working part-time at the pawn shop. So I bought us a sewing machine. It was $75 from American Pawn. It's still there on Little Creek Road in Norfolk, Virginia. And I brought our little $75 sewing machine home, and she made her little curtains and stuff. And I just started fixing things. Like I had maybe a bag of outfits that had a strap broken or a hole in it, or, little small fixes. And so I spent some time just going through mending things. And then my first real project is I took a little bikini that I had that I just loved so much, but it was starting to get a little, it was time for it to go, but I just couldn't bear to get rid of it. So I used it to trace it and make a pattern to duplicate it. And the very first attempt was an epic fail because I didn't think about the seam allowance. So that seam allowance is basically the space where you should fold over the edge. Okay. And so when I did that, I made it a little bit smaller than the original tracing. And so I ended up like giving that away to somebody or something. And once I realized my mistake because it was way too small, I got better, process of, just learning. And so each time I made something that got better and better. I didn't become a fashion designer overnight, but I just started out making for myself, so I didn't mind if the stitch was crooked or if I made some pants and one leg was longer than the other. Most of the time, nobody knew but me, and even if it was messed up, even when I first started out, I would tell people, hey, I'm new, I don't, I'm not that good. They didn't care. They was like, I don't care, I just love it. I just want it. I don't care that it's not perfect. I still want it. And so I sold it to them,
And you also, I heard you tell me earlier that you teach.
Oh, yes.
Started to teach classes? Or
So that took time because, in the very beginning, I thought that nobody would want to pay me to learn to sew because I was self-taught. I didn't go to fashion school or anything. And I kept telling people, no. And so, like I said, I started my business in 2001. That's when I actually got a business license and, it was legitimate, paying taxes, all that good stuff. And so 2015, I started hosting sewing meetups, like the old school sewing circles, inviting people to come, bring their own machine, bring their project, and let's just chit chat, have some snacks. And I would meet like at libraries, and I have a friend that had a studio. She would let me use her dance studio on days that I wanted to do it. And to this day, she grew, and so now I actually am one of her instructors at her performing arts school now. That's a nonprofit. So in Biola Fusion, it's in Virginia Beach. So I just want to shout out Marquita that always gave me a home for my sewing meetups back when I didn't really know what I was doing. And so 2017 is when I had my first paid student, and he came from a sewing meetup. He came to the meetup and was like, hey, I already know how to sew, but I just need more help. And I'm like, well, what do you need me for? You already know how to sew. He's like, well, you just know so much more than I do. I just want you to help me and like show me how you, make your stuff from scratch. And so that's what I did. We had a session, and a lot of people may not talk about worthiness or imposter syndrome. And so basically what that is in your business when you don't think you're good enough. You know, you don't think you're worthy for someone. Like, I didn't think I was worthy to charge anybody. But I accepted his offer. I said, okay, well, pay me $25. And so I brought my newspaper, and he brought the t-shirt he wanted to replicate. So I showed him how to trace it and how to make his pattern. And then we went and made a shirt from the African material he had. And it was a shift in me when I went from the beginning of just starting, not feeling like I should even be charging this guy, to seeing his finished shirt. You know, and I'm like, wow, I really just taught somebody how to make a shirt from scratch using newspaper, you know. Wow. And so he still, to this day, will contact me and different things, and we'll get together and I'll help him with whatever challenge. And so he was my first designer that I started working with, and my first client, and he was a designer already. And since then, I found that's my niche. As far as the sewing classes, I have a lot of designers that are self-taught that come, and I help cultivate them to create their vision, their reality, their dream into reality. Like, they have this idea, this concept, and I can show them how to create the pattern pieces to actually pull it from a sketch into a physical garment. And so I'm so proud of one of my other students, Jeffrey. He and I started, and now he's showcasing New York Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week. Wow! And just recently, I have a young lady that I'm teaching how to make lingerie and intimate pieces. And so we worked together for about a year. We started last February, and in November, she showcased her first collection, and we hosted a fashion showcase for her. And that's Miss Amani. So I'm just so proud of my students. And so that's where I have found my passion, is helping up-and-coming designers, cultivate their lines.
Well, you're about to have a new student, right?
I know, right? But don't forget now, you're going to teach me to play the drums, too. Yeah, so we're going to trade.
That'll work.
So, but I do all kinds of sewing classes. You don't have to be a designer to work with me. I do have beginner sewing classes, just like, say, if you have a kid or something and they just want to learn the basics, say you just want to come and learn how to make face masks. And something I do feel is a lost art is hand sewing and mending, because sustainable fashion is one of my platforms. And so I like to show people how to mend their clothing, and going back to my days of just changing some things, like maybe if you have some old clothes, maybe you might want to take the arms off of this shirt and put a different arm from a different shirt, or maybe cut a hole in it and put some lace under or something. And so I encourage people to use what they have and give that garment a longer life cycle instead of letting it go to a landfill or something. So I not only teach on the sewing machine, I teach hand sewing as well.
So you're not only a fashion designer, you creating fashion designers.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's big, because that's what we need. The celebrity world.
Okay.
Fashion, a guru, or trend. Mm-hmm. Who would you choose?
My number one is Rihanna. I freaking love her because she is unapologetic about who she is. She has a range. Of course, she came on the scene as a musician, as a quote unquote good girl musician, but she started her Savage Fenty, which is lingerie, and really pushing the envelope, but she's inclusive. She makes sure that she includes plus size women and light women, dark women. And so her marketing is very sometimes provocative, yet real. People need underwear, it's like, yeah. But, she also was the first Black woman to be a part of the Louis Vuitton, Couture house, and with her Fenty. And, she's had other partnerships and things in the fashion world. And when you look at her, she might come out in a naked bodysuit, or you might see her in an oversized dress shirt and cut up jeans, Yeah. So, and what I like about her, and that's something that I do as well, most of the time when I come out, I wear my own fashion, but I notice she likes to wear couture, other designers. And so that's what I've started doing now that I've already established myself as a brand. I like to support other designers, and so I'll wear other designers' customs sometimes and stuff too. So I just really like her because she does more than one thing, and she's unapologetic about who she is and her brand.
Wow. So speaking of, she do other things. You have a lot of other things that you do as well.
I do so many things, but I love every moment of it.
Share with us some of the other things that you do.
Okay. Well, you allow me to bring in my beautiful crown and sash here. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the Miss Plus Culture Galaxy pageant system is based in New York, in Westchester. I've been doing professional pageants since 2018. Wow. And the whole reason why I started pageants was to elevate my brand. I have a friend that's one of my models, and she introduced me to the pageant, and I was suggesting I would do this pageant in another city to just kind of show off my stuff. And so she said, well, why don't you join my system, the American Nation Culture Galaxy? And so I looked into it, and she actually found me a sponsor to help me financially to get into the door. Wow. So it does cost money,
yeah.
But any hobby, as you would know, costs money, you know. And the very first year, it was life-changing for me, because when you think about pageants, you just see the crown. And I didn't just learn about pageantry, I learned about myself. Because doing this pageant was the first time I did something for me. I do a lot of community service. I usually am working full-time. I'm running my business, which is driven by my customers. But when I did this pageant, it was an opportunity for me to ask people to really support me. Not some hungry child, homeless puppy over here. But hey, this is something I'm doing to elevate me and my brand. Will you support me? And, it was a growing process, and I had to learn not to focus on the people that don't support you, but celebrate the people that do.
You got to.
Because, it was a journey about self-love and self-discovery for myself. And once I got into it, it really became about the sisterhood. It became about just the service, because behind the crown and the sash, every pageant queen has a platform. So mine is youth entrepreneurship, and so I like to teach kids about starting businesses, and then also the sustainable fashion. As a fashion designer, I'm very into that. And when I talk about sustainable fashion, it's not just the fabrics, it's the whole supply chain. Going back to that woman that might be in a factory in China that's not being paid a fair wage, to how the fabric is being processed, and the fabric that I choose for my pieces, to hosting that sewing meetup, teaching someone how to mend something so it doesn't have to end up in a landfill.
That is wonderful.
So I love pageants, and so currently my title is Miss Plus Culture Galaxy. So what that is, an international title, and so my platform practically is about cultural diversity, building community partnerships, and again, my own platform, which is the sustainable fashion and the youth entrepreneurship. And so I will be serving until August of this year, and then I will actually be stepping into a regional director role in Virginia, North Carolina, and Georgia.
Oh,
so
wow,
if anyone is interested in pageantry out there, holla at your girl.
Wow. So this right here,
I can just so you can see the whole sash. So, so basically, Miss Plus Culture Galaxy 2021. And so it's really cool, because when you're the title holder, you get rhinestones on your stuff. And so when you sign up to join the pageant, you pay your entry fee, and you will get a crown and a sash that you will be able to represent your city, your state, your country, your heritage. So my particular journey, my first role was Miss Culture Galaxy Virginia, and I got first runner-up, and that was really exciting because I was new to pageantry. I was 43 years old the first time I stepped into the pageant. Well, as you can see what I look like, plus size, black, female, natural hair, and I love this pageant system because it's a true pageant. It's about beauty and beyond. It's not about having the best weave or being skinny or being a tap dance and play the piano on one leg. Yeah. It's about you as a person. It's about your community service efforts and what you can give, So
I learned that because I used to look at pageant, and I look at it as they wear the swimsuit, then they wear this, and they wear that, and walk across stage, and then they judge. But it's so much more.
It's so much more to it.
Than that.
So with our pageant system, we just have 4 components. So the one that I promote is Miss Plus Culture Galaxy, but we do have MISS, which is age 19 to 29. Then we have the MS, which is age 30 and up. And so I'm actually the very first Plus Culture Galaxy. So last year they added the Plus component. So with that, it's still the age 30 and up. But if you're a size 14 or larger, you can compete in the MS or the Miss Plus, either one. Because you can still be a plus size person and compete in the MS, but it depends on what you want to do. So actually, when I competed in the MS and the MS Plus. So
wow, and that's a lot of, like I said, I know a lot of women that are plus size. I even rent some women. I even talked to them about you. So
really? Thank you.
Hopefully they're gonna see this. Yay. And they want to get in contact because they's into fashion, they's plus size, and they want to start their own brand. And
I'm willing to help. I don't charge anything to connect with someone. You can follow me on all my social media. I don't know at what point you want that, but the easiest way I tell people to connect with me is just
we're gonna get all that information
my name
too. And there was something else that you was working on. Dancing classes also.
Oh yeah, so I create all kinds of fashion. So I create from exotic dancewear to praise dancewear. So my brand is Stretch Couture. So I focus on pieces that are stretchy, that curve the body. So one of the things that I found is that especially in the fashion industry, a lot of people seek validation. So I'm on my own personal journey, and I realize I don't need outside validation to know who I am and whose I am. But I notice a lot of my clients struggle with body image, and they struggle with the validation piece. And so one of the things I started doing is hosting private, intimate gatherings for ladies that teach the art of burlesque. And a lot of people don't really know what it is, but basically burlesque is an art form through dance, where women will wear like dresses or lingerie. Sometimes they may have the feathered boas, and they will practice, sexy moves. It might just be something with their hands, and it may be something that's like playful. It may include a little strip tease, but at the core of it is sexy self-love, accepting your own body, accepting your own being, and loving yourself. So whether you come and have this class and go home and perform for yourself in the mirror, or perhaps you have a husband at home that you decide to showcase for, but burlesque is a so I host these parties, but they're not like for just anybody. All I come, I book them privately. So like say a young lady would book the party for herself and maybe 9 of her friends. Being that we are in COVID, we usually cap it at 10 guests. And then I have a partner, and she and I will come. And so I'm the host, and then my partner will teach the class. And then usually when I book the party, I will offer an option for them to order some custom pieces or some other pieces out of a collection that I've curated. And so again, that could be gloves, that could be feathers. For some women, they might want to be fully covered. They might want to do leggings and a t-shirt, where some women may want a corset and some panties, so it varies on each individual host and each party. So,
and that's good. I love seeing a confident plus size woman. My best friend, rest in peace, she was the first plus size woman that I ever seen that was very confident. To the point she didn't think she was plus size. I mean, you couldn't see nothing to her. Or nobody could see nothing to her. That was the first one. And then after I started seeing Nikki off of the Monique from the Parkers, she was reminding me so much of her. And I was like, yo, this is really good, because I love seeing confident women. And so now I see more of it now, but there's still, like I said, there's still some out there that's not confident. They don't know who they are. They need validation for what they can wear, how they look. And that is great that you are doing that.
Yeah. And I just think more women need to hear that, because women think they have to have the best weave. They have to have the skinny waist. They feel like the stretch marks are, a disgrace versus a badge of honor, And so that's why it's really important to me to have these women in an intimate, small environment so that we can be honest and free with each other and have the fun of the sexy part, because every woman desires to be sexy, and it's just in us as women, but also to remind them that they're queens and that they need to love themselves, and you have to love yourself before anyone can love you,
because
and
if you look at it, the little small waist is big, but as time goes, that's gonna drop, that's gonna fail, and then what you got? You don't have nothing. Look, and I always say,
if you got money, you got Dr. Miami. But hey, not everybody can afford Dr. Miami. I know he's not on my list of things to do, but some women, that's how they feel. They feel that that's the only way they're gonna be beautiful is by someone else's standard, by the pages they see in the magazine, the images they see in the media, and so I just want to remind people that you don't have to do all the things to be beautiful. And so,
like I said, you can dress nice and don't have to be revealing and show everything. And like I said, that's gonna fail.
Mm-hmm.
And as you get older, when that leaves, the man might leave with it because that's all he was in love with. But when you get in love with that man stay there, you there.
Somebody like Halle Berry, she was beautiful then when she had issues with keeping, a person. And, it's beautiful people out there with great bodies that still don't manage to maintain their relationships.
Yeah.
So, I like the fact that I consider myself a well-rounded person in the sense that, money is important, but it's not my primary driving thing. I've always was just taught to be good to myself and be good to people, treat people the way I want to be treated, and sometimes I find that's a problem because sometimes I treat people better than I treat myself. And so that's where I decided to just pause and focus on self-love for a moment and start treating myself really good,
I feel a lot of my friends, I always compliment them, tell them how beautiful they are. And I tell them because they might not hear it from nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I talk to them, might be plus size, but guess what? You way off better than she is because she can't keep that man. Yeah. Because they just, after they get what they want. But, like I said, I try to uplift all women.
Mm-hmm.
I uplift all. And like I said, the fashion, dressing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice dressing woman, whether they plus or small, is important. But a lot of people don't know how to dress.
Maybe that's where you come in. Maybe you can show them the way with the fashion. But, I just think that too. Not everything is for everybody, and some people don't want to ask for help. So I think it's great that you have this show out here now, so people can see. That it's okay to be different, that it's okay to try something new. And thank goodness to the internet, it's a gift and a curse, kind of like a brick. You can bust a window or you can build a house. It's up to you what you do with it, But I think in this day and age, whatever you need help with, it's out there. You can find it. So I think it's just to encourage people, women and men, to ask for help, hire a consultant. If you don't know, hire a consultant, and have them, there's people that offer services where they'll come to your home and they will go through your wardrobe with you and help style you with things you already have, where you don't even have to go out and go shopping. Then we do have the stylists that will shop for you, And
it makes, like I said, it makes a big difference. Mm-hmm. To help people like yourself on the show, that could help people that don't have no sense of direction for as fashion, and they just stuck in the way because they don't know how. Like I said, some people may be scared to ask for help, but then you have some that will ask for help, and you can help them out. Next thing you know, they look like a whole different person. So fashion is important to me. It is very important. Like yourself, I grew up. I had do what I had.
Yeah, I had to figure it out.
Yeah, and like, no, until if you want these right here $100 pair of jeans, you get a job by them yourself. But you're gonna worry here these $15 Levi or Lee jeans that I got here. So you had to make the best of what you got.
But see, I'm gonna tell you again, that's a gift and a curse, because I remember that when I got my first job, I was working at a Hardee's, and this was back in the day when the Wall was a store in Military Circle. I used to spend my whole check, cross colors, major damage, where that stuff at now?
It's this trend.
Trendy, you know what I'm saying? Trendy. But then when I got older and I started designing, I remember I purchased like a Donna Karan DKNY black dress from like one of them high-end stores, like maybe Macy's or Nordstrom's or, you know, one of them higher-end stores. And I remember the dress was like almost $200. But I wore that dress for years. It didn't have DKNY plastered all over it, but I could tell the quality because the fabric felt different than anything I had ever had before. The stitching was like so good, you know, way better than something I bought from Rainbow. It was classic. It was timeless. I wore it for years and years and years, and the way it fit and it felt on my body, it was just different. And so that's the thing, that as you mature and as you start to find your fashion sense, you'll start to look at things like the quality of the fabric, the cut of the garment, how timeless that piece is, how you can repurpose it in different ways. You can dress it from, you know, business to after 5, you know. And so once you really step into the fashion world and you start really looking at your pieces, and it's not about trends, you know, but you can make something trendy by adding maybe a trendy top or a trendy pant or a trendy accessory. So the core pieces like the blazer or the dress or the pants or the shirt or what have you could be timeless. And so I think you can find a happy medium between the two.
Now, did you get any criticisms along with your fashion? Because see, like with me, it comes, you get criticism, then you got a lot of people. But see, mine was like more people liked it than more people criticized it.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Like, one thing that really bothered me one time, I got to a point where when I first transitioned to having natural hair, I felt like my afro looked militant. So I didn't want everybody to think that I was like a Black Panther everywhere I went, you know. So I started wearing like headbands and bows and flowers and stuff in my hair. And I remember I got a job, and the HR lady was like, I had to take my hair accessory out to take my work picture because it wasn't professional for me to have that hair thing. And my afro looked crazy, you know. This is me feeling like my afro looked crazy. It probably looked great to somebody, but at that moment, I felt like my afro looked crazy without my hair thing, you know. And I just remember talking to my supervisor about it, and I remember combing through the code of, you know, dress code, and it said nothing in there about hair. It said you couldn't wear hats.
Okay, gotcha.
You know, but it said nothing about a hair accessory. And I just felt like it was that lady's personal opinion of what she felt was professional and wasn't professional. But because she was the quote-unquote management, I listened to her. I didn't challenge her about my hair thing. But in a situation like that, it taught me that there's a time and a place for everything. So, you know, even though I have this outspoken fashion sense, I can't necessarily do that in a workplace. You know what I'm saying? So you have to learn when and where to be that fashion icon, and when and where to maybe tone it down just a little bit and just go with the flow. So I feel like sometimes you'll get some criticisms that are biased and some that are really some you may want to consider. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. One of my, I like now, I used to didn't like it at first, but when somebody say, you know what, only you can pull that off. At first, I didn't, and then I was like, well, you know what? It's a step better than, what is you wearing?
Yeah, what you got on? Yeah. What you got on?
But when they started saying, it got to a point they seen that I didn't care what they thought was, because when they asked the question, I can come back with something, but I didn't care about it. So then it changed to, oh man, only you can pull that off. And then people started liking it. Yo, I really like that. But like I said, at first, the criticisms was coming. They was hitting, and I was like, you know what? I just, tunnel vision. I ain't see nobody else. I ain't heard nobody else comments or nothing. The little giggling and laughing, I didn't pay that nothing behind. So I'm pretty sure you had to go through all of that.
You know, what I will tell you is that I did get more of the approval, like you said, especially when I would do, like, say, the evening wear or something. You know, I just say be yourself. Everybody else is already taken.
Yeah.
And one of the things I say, you know, just learn. You know, document. Like, if you wear something and you feel like you get an outstanding amount of criticism about it, you have to ask yourself, you know, maybe I should rethink this outfit, maybe not. You know, so I mean, me personally, again, I think you just have to think about, hey, your opinion of me is none of my business. I'm not gonna say I don't care about what you think, but you have a right to your own opinion. But your opinion is really none of my business because, you know, I don't need your validation. All right. Well, thank you again so much for having me. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. And again, my name is Sonya Phillips. I am the owner of Stretch Couture, and I am a fashion designer, and I also teach sewing instruction. So if you would like to connect with me as regards to my fashion, you can visit my website, www.stretchcouture.com, or you can connect with me on Instagram at Stretch Couture. And if you're interested in the pageantry and some of the other projects that I mentioned today, I have so many other ones I didn't even mention. Visit my personal website, and that's www.sonyazphillips.com. And you can connect to all my other social medias from my websites.
And good people, y'all got to get with her. Got to go out there and check her out. Like, she don't mind even helping you. The ones that don't even have fashion in them, she could change your whole world. Like I said, we're out of time, but we're not out of fashion. Okay. And we'll see y'all in the next round. Peace.
Peace.